We want to be a partner who are really tangible and concrete. So during the Expo 2022 next summer, we will show concrete proof of attractive home solutions for the many people in various stages of life.
Thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica podcast. I am Mustafa Sharif, an urban planner, and you're more than welcome to join my big journey of exploring the making of smarter and more livable cities. Please don't forget to follow Urbanistica on the different social media platforms, and also let's connect on LinkedIn. Big thanks to Urbanistica podcast partner AFRY. AFRY is an international engineering and design company providing sustainable solutions in the fields of energy, industry, and infrastructure. Are you ready for a new episode? Let's go for it.
I'm very happy today because we are recording one more episode in collaboration with H22 the Making of a Smarter City in Helsingborg City in the south of Sweden. Today we have a really interesting project and story. I have the pleasure to welcome you, our storyteller, Jonas Spangenberg, to Urbanistica podcast. Hey and welcome.
Thank you so much. It will be a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you so much. How are you doing?
Today I'm fine. I'm sitting back home, actually in Helsingborg where I live, looking out. It's 14 degrees Celsius and spring is coming.
Wow, that's happiness, no?
It's happiness. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really happy. Thank you so much for giving your time to record this episode. I know you're very busy. You have big projects and also big story to tell us today.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to participate.
Yeah. So you're our storyteller. How would you like to introduce yourself, Jonas?
Oh yeah. As a quite easygoing guy, and as I said, with Helsingborg as home, a guy who lacks the ability to differ work life from rest of life. And simply because both these parts, they are so damn fun and actually perpetually interlinked.
What are you passionate about, Jonas?
Oh, I'm passionate about a lot of things. I'm passionate about fulfilling people's dreams about being able to live in a great new home without paying a fortune. I'm passionate about watching Pippi Longstrump with Bianca, the 3-year-old grandchild in our family. I'm passionate about making success for our business without compromising with customer experience. I'm truly passionate about the 5 to 6 hour bike ride I have in front of me this weekend.
Wow.
I'm passionate about a lot of other things.
Yeah. May I ask you, when you start to be passionate about caring about people's life and making a good experience for them, was it when you were young, study, do business? Is there a specific moment?
No, yeah, yes, there is a specific moment, and I will actually think I will come back to that later today. But sort of the passion in itself, sort of the idea of and knowing that is something that can drive you. That's something that personally for me started quite many years ago. And it was when I was a teenager, and I realized back then that I had a quite strong drive, a strong engine in certain situations. And it was in situations when I really wanted to achieve a certain thing. And it was clearly connected to sports back then. And it was specifically connected to handball, which I truly loved. I was not sort of playing in the highest league, but it was really a passion I had. And later in my life, I have learned that sort of to bolt on, to use this kind of energy I was able to put in back then, and also put that energy into my work life. And that makes it easier for me to walk that extra mile when needed.
Yeah.
But the specific moment when I sort of got the passion for making life easier for people, I will soon explain to you.
I love it. And I love how you transform the energy from the sport field to your desktop or office when you're working, or maybe now at home when you're working from home.
Yeah, and it's I think it's just to find it inside yourself and find your way of okay, how can I use this kind of drive or this kind of sort of feeling.
Exactly. And Jonas, before we get into the core of this episode, you're now the business unit president at BoKlok.
Yep.
Tell me about your journey. Like, what did you work with? What did you study?
Well, I'm actually quite, in our industry, I have a quite classic background. I'm a civil engineer in Swedish Väg och Vatten, sort of a Master of Science. I studied in Lund it's more than 35 years ago. So many, many years ago. And then I have been working sort of did the traditional journey. I actually started off at an architectural company making drawings. Then I went out to the construction sites, worked as a supervisor, and then I became project leader. And then actually by accident, more or less, I stumbled into the residential development business here in Helsingborg, where I lived. And I started in a company called Riksbyggen, and was a part of doing the Oceanhamnen project, which then led up to the city fair H22. Moved to the company Skanska and been sort of working in the residential development business in Skanska since 1999 in various roles. I've been working with this concept BoKlok all these years, and now since the last 10 years I have been sort of given the opportunity to create this business as a separate, more or less a separate company, where we focus doing only BoKlok in the markets we act. And we act right now in Sweden, Norway, Finland, and starting up in UK. So quite traditional. But if you would ask me to try to use some of my engineering learnings from the late 80s, I would be a lousy engineer today.
But it's really interesting and big journey you made. You were in different position, not only like on the desktop, but also on the site and experience how it's made, which is great actually. And so now tell me about the BoKlok. But before you start to give us a highlight, what does it mean in English?
Good that you asked that question, because quite occasionally when I'm speaking with people sort of outside the Nordics, I actually start the dialogue by explaining that BoKlok in English, it means something. It means live smart. So it has a meaning. And now in UK, there has been a lot of discussion, should we have another brand or another sort of name for BoKlok? We don't. We're using BoKlok, and also in UK they're trying to learn how to sort of say BoKlok in a decent way. And they are actually doing quite well. And when they get to know that it means live smart, it helps.
Yeah, so you keep the name by you providing with a manual to how to pronounce it and to what is it about. So tell us the background of it. You started a bit with it. What is the aim of it? When did it start?
Well, the idea that developed into this concept, BoKlok, it all began in the early 90s in Sweden. And it was during the financial crisis, the big financial crisis we experienced back then. The Swedish housing production, it dropped from more than 60,000 homes built yearly to less than 5,000 in 1 year. For Skanska, one of the owners of BoKlok, this was a threatening of the existence of the whole company as residential construction. It was a crucial part of business. Back then, in 1993, by random, which is interesting, one person from Skanska met another person from IKEA at a housing fair in something called Stumholmen in Karlskrona. They started to talk about ways to change the rules of the game. And all in all, this dialogue, it led to an agreement between Skanska and IKEA to start cooperate with the clear intention to develop a home offering for a customer target group that traditionally would not be able to desire a new built home simply because of the cost for living. after this event, or after this meeting, random meeting at Stumholmen, Skanska and IKEA, they gave 3 individuals the task to investigate if Skanska and IKEA could develop something really appealing together. And it was 3 women. It was Inge Olsson from Skanska, Madeleine Nobs from IKEA, together with the architect Inge Olsson, who developed the whole thing. And sort of, what did they then do? Well, the new big thing with BoKlok and the idea back then, it was the way they approached the whole problem. Inge and Madeleine, they actually took the whole logic upside down, and they started by asking, who is the important customer that really need a new home, and what can she or he pay for that? In the mid-90s, that person was typically a single nurse with 1 child, and she could afford to pay 3,000 Swedish per month for her living. Then it was all about developing a home offering that met this. And BoKlok sort of came out as a result of that, and we still work exactly the same way 25 years later.
What a story. So you didn't change anything in this rule?
The rule still apply. We are looking for people with limited income. How can we serve them the best way? So this single nurse, we are still doing the calculation every year, so we still know how much can he or she afford to pay. And the BoKlok apartments, they need to meet that ability.
Mm-hmm. Are there many people like this nurse?
Yeah, if you look at this nurse, sort of that customer group came out of the idea of being able to deliver a nice home for people working in the public sector with medium income. And back then, that was this single nurse. When you're targeting that customer target group, still, and this is the sad part of this discussion, still there is approximately 40% of everybody in Sweden now that cannot afford to pay that. But with this approach, we are targeting a lot of people that cannot afford to pay all the rest that is being offered in the marketplace. So we are sort of we are taking the idea of BoKlok is bringing sort of the cost for living down, so we are being able to actually offer customers that otherwise would never be able. And many customers we still meet, they couldn't even dream of being able to buy or rent a new home, fresh new home.
I can really imagine.
So we are fulfilling dreams in many aspects.
Yeah, I can really imagine. And I would love that soon we talk about also what do you mean by like a good housing and so on. Yeah. This is the first time in history that IKEA invests in such project and collaborate with the city.
It's IKEA. They are sort of they are doing also a big transformation from sort of being a product company doing products to be a sort of a home furnishing company, and they are now also stepping out of that sort of a comfort zone and trying to find ways to be a part of the community. And BoKlok is one mean or one tool in that sort of thinking on how to understand a bigger sort of a bigger and more complex environment. And IKEA is not really. They have been doing similar stuff in historically, but sort of the cooperation and creation of BoKlok is sort of the most tangible example, I would say.
Yeah, and I would love that you take us to Helsingborg where you are now and tell us first, before how you collaborate with H22 and what do you do in Helsingborg. Tell us, why do you want to collaborate with H22?
Yeah, this demands a little bit of a long answer, because to answer that perfectly, I would continue the story about how BoKlok was created in the 90s. As a result of that, this home offering was developed, and the first project in the whole world is actually located here in Helsingborg, in Ödåkra to be more specific. These homes, they are today owned by Helsingborgshem, Allmännyttan in Helsingborg. I just actually passed by with my bike just the other day, and I was able to see how great the houses are being maintained. And I would like to say hats off for that, Jonas Hansson, who's running Helsingborgshem. The big inauguration of BoKlok took part in that project in late 1997. That inauguration was hosted by the founder of IKEA, Ingvar Kamprad, and the chairman of the board of Skanska, Melker Sjölding. And the best part of all of that was I was there as a guest.
Oh, awesome.
And it was exactly at that moment my personal crush for BoKlok took off. So you asked me before about the specific moment I got the passion. It was there, 1997, late October, standing and listening to Ingvar Kamprad giving a great speech about how to actually do something different. From that, then BoKlok developed all over Sweden and gradually also it became established in other Nordic countries. Taking in that from that 1997, then in 1999. In the Helsingborg housing fair H22, BoKlok was also very active. We built a whole building with 6 apartments down in the harbor. I was personally involved and deeply involved in that, and we had a great summer. And that was actually, you could say, in connection to H22, that was the point of time when BoKlok as a concept took off, because the international media coverage, we were completely overwhelmed. Interest everywhere. BBC, they wanted to buy a flat pack because they wanted to assemble a building in their studio, and we had to go. That is maybe a bit difficult. But so from that, why then H22 for us? Well, first of all, we think that H22 is a very attractive platform for various kinds of partnerships that we believe for us are critical for us to continue to develop. And as you now understand, we see Helsingborg as the city of our birth, as the first BoKlok project in history is here. So in a sense, besides H22 being a good marketing platform, this is also a way from us to, you could say, pay back to Helsingborg by being as active as we ever can and hopefully contributing positively to the continued development of Helsingborg as a city.
Yeah.
So that's actually the reasons.
Yeah, so what a story. So can we say that BoKlok is made in Helsingborg?
More or less, yes.
Amazing. So tell me, how do you collaborate?
Yeah, so the way we have approached H22 overall is that we want to be an active partner, but we want to be a partner who are really tangible and concrete. So during the EXPO 2022 next summer, we will show concrete proof of attractive home solutions for the many people in various stages of life. It will be mainly done in 2 different arenas. One arena is through a project inside a newly developed concept named Silviabo. That concept is developed together with the foundation Silviahemmet. And this concept is all about providing attractive and suitable homes for an aging population, and even for persons with some kind of dementia symptom. It's about creating a home where you can stay longer, where you can live longer home, potentially the rest of your life in a good way. With this solution, we contribute greatly to society, as it's far more cost efficient for society when people can continue live in their own homes instead of at an institution. And even importantly, enable people to avoid moving to an institution, because that's a tragedy that normally occurs when one in a couple being forced to move into an institution with dementia. They shouldn't go there because that is a new unknown territory. And so that's a tragedy, one tragedy, and then there's a double tragedy because the partner will only be doing one thing, traveling back and forth to the institution. So with Sylvia, we aim to sort of contribute to avoid actually a double tragedy of life. At EXPO 2022, we will showcase homes, fully fitted, fully furnished homes for that purpose. And that will be done not in one of the big arenas for EXPO 22. It will be done up in another part of the city named Mariastaden. Then on top of that, together with Helsingborg, the city of Helsingborg, we will host conferences, and also together with Sylvia Hammett, of course, where we will explore how to continue to develop Helsingborg in the journey in becoming the true elderly-friendly city. So that's one arena and one thing we will do in connection to H22. Then we are also participating at Drottninghög, where we participate by developing and building homes with a different kind of tenure. We're doing co-ops in a community today completely dominated by rentals. And this is a close cooperation we have with Helsingborgshem as well as Helsingborg Stad, of course. And in this cooperation, we are so proud and actually thrilled to be able to prove that mixed tenures are greatly contributing to improve quality of life and well-functioning local communities. And at EXPO 2022 next summer, we will showcase fully fitted, decorated homes in projects being built there. And just to prove that, we are already out now selling these co-ops. Everything is sold out already. People want to a lot of people, they want to have a new fresh home. They want to start climbing the property ladder, but they don't want to move from the community because they have their friends, their families, and they want. So by adding on another home offering, we are actually creating a better functioning local community.
Yeah.
So these are the two arenas we will be active with.
Yeah. And I'm really in love with what you do in both the arenas. But Jonas, tell me, is it really possible that you're offering a kind of, I would not say very cheap or cheap housing, but does it give a good quality for people? Because usually when you pay low price, you don't get a good quality. Did you get my question?
Yeah. And I can answer that question in various ways. One answer is that quite many people who come in to see our apartments, they get almost disappointed, because when they come in and say, well, this is just any other apartment, and why this disappointment? Well, as we are talking about trying to do quality sustainable homes for a lower price than many others, hopefully all the others, people tend to build in pictures in their heads that then the quality is lousy. It's not about that. The way we are creating still comfortable homes with good quality is about taking a stand on industrialization, repetition, and actually standardization. So we are repeating the same solutions over and over again. You could compare us more with the car industry than the construction industry, because our homes, they are produced in safe environment, in dry environment, inside in factories, with skilled labor who are only doing this, not standing on a rainy construction site. So the quality, we have better prerequisites to really get the quality right and the standard right. Then on top of that, I could also brag a bit about, because then the next question that usually comes is, when you do the sort of this standardization, these boxes, and actually people can't really choose from a lot of different tiles, and so we're choosing at home. This is what you get. Don't people get disappointed then? No. The last 5 years we have had either the industry's most satisfied customers, or being by 3 of those 5 years the most satisfied customers of all the players in the marketplace, beating JM, Riksbyggen, you name it. And you can Google this. It's a prognosis center to do these measures. So either number one or top 3 the last 5 years. So people are really satisfied because they know what they get and they get value for money.
Well, first of all, congratulations for achieving this point of people are satisfying. And I'm also a bit disappointed now because I was planning to move to one of these houses. But now you told me like everything is sold out, so I'm disappointed.
I think there is one that is only reserved, so maybe there will be sort of
maybe
one left.
Yeah. So we started to talk about boxes and this housing typology. Are we going to see high-rise building? How do they look like, the housing?
We are if we stay in Sweden, we are working with 2. Let's call it 2 type of building systems. It's apartment buildings that we today are doing up to 4 stories high. My prediction is that we will most likely go higher in the future. And then these apartment buildings, they are composed. You can in every individual project, you can make your own mix of 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, and also studios. So you can mix apartments, but it's a set of. We are usually calling BoKlok Duplo, not Lego, but the Duplo for the even smaller kids, bigger blocks. And each apartment consists of 1, 2, or 3 boxes, Duplo blocks, and you can sort of in a very sort of flexible way arrange this, and then we can of course put different kinds of facades on the buildings as well. So apartment buildings 4 stories high right now, and then we have single family homes, or in the industry called terraced houses, which you can do longer or shorter, and you can have garages in between, and you can do different stuff. They are 2 stories high, but that's a single family home, and we're doing both types at Drottninghög.
So it's very flexible to put together the different models.
It's flexible, but not on a detailed scale. It's flexible. So there is one box with the entrance, the bathroom, and the bedroom. That box is always the same. There's one box with kitchen and living room, always the same. But you can combine them.
Exactly. Yeah. On the larger scale, there it's flexible. You can combine different models. And tell me how much technology in these houses. Are we talking about smart homes? Would I say, Alexa, can you turn on the light, open the door? Or how much technology in these boxes?
Not that much. And we are actually, that's one of the sort of the things we're looking into. But honestly, we sort of, in sort of how to continue stay relevant and continue to sort of homes that are sort of people we think people will want to live within. We are more focused on the sustainability journey, and more to be even more specific, we are going the sort of the climate neutral or climate positive journey. And we believe that is for us as a brand, as a business, to contribute to society. That is the most overriding question of them all. So our clear agenda is that to become climate neutral or climate positive as fast as ever possible. Our present target is to be climate neutral throughout our value chain by 2035. And that decision was made 1.5 years ago, but it seems to be a moving target. And we are already now sitting and thinking and talking about how to move that target forward. And And that's a huge task to sort of to find a way on how to develop our homes further, so we are not sort of making a zero or even a net positive footprint of everything we do. We're talking more about that than sort of clever, smart digital homes, and I'm pretty sure we will see sort of stuff like that as well. But the climate journey, that is sort of, that's really on our
is the focus and the goal.
Yeah.
Are we talking about like sustainable materials, production, maintaining process?
We're talking about materials, which is the big thing, and the almost funny thing is that our biggest climate impact in BoKlok today is the use of wood. Even though that wood is in itself a CO2 deposit, but that's when we are doing a sort of our total footprint of the sort of to have sort of a starting point in our journey to zero. Material is the big thing, and wood is inside the material group a big thing. Then of course it's about transportation, it's about our value chain, our subcontractors, our suppliers. So we need to find suppliers that are also together with us doing the same journey. It's about how we behave, who work in BoKlok, how we travel or not travel, or so it's a very, very wide and broad sort of area of range of areas you need to address.
Yeah, and I think this is very brave leadership. You mentioned 1.5 years ago that the decision is to make it climate neutral or maybe even positive. I think this is very brave, and it's, as you say, hats off now to all of you.
But we are in good company. There are many other businesses out there who are sort of having the same. And I actually think this is a very positive and great competition that is starting to sort of, we're starting to see. And we have for quite many years, to be honest, in our industry, we have talked about, it's important, but our customers are not prepared to pay. I bet that very soon, if we are not doing really having high standards, it will become a hygiene factor, and if we are not sustainable, our homes will not be sellable. And I also believe that, especially for a business like us, where we can pilot certain things, and those who we find attractive, we can put in them as standard quite fast. It will not be more. People think it's expensive. In the future, it will not be more expensive. It's an evolution. And we develop in a car today. You can't almost even buy a car without speed control. In 15 years ago, that was luxury. You had to pay a lot of extra to get that. But the costs are decreasing. Same thing with solar panels. We were the first player in Sweden to put solar panels on all projects as a standard back in 2019, a few years ago. And you see the cost for solar panels is also just to the sheer volume. And I'm pretty sure that very soon we were, as I said, first player to have it as standard. Already today, there are a lot of other players who are doing exactly the same and doing much more. So we need to really be active and look out what our colleagues doing, so we don't sort of lag behind.
Yeah, and I really like the mindset, your mindset, how you think, and I really love this healthy and sustainable competition. That we do a competition, of course, but it's for the good of the planet, and I share the same thoughts with you. I'm working as an urban planner now. When we planning, if we don't plan a sustainable cities, then we are not gonna survive as a business.
Not as
and
a business,
people.
Not as human beings.
Exactly.
So and the good thing is, or the beauty, there is no contradiction between doing good business and doing sort of a sustainable business. And I think those who still believe that those are, you can't combine them, please wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no contradiction.
Yeah, I always also tell this in the podcast. Making money is fine, it's cool. Making money in a sustainable way and giving sustainable solution, this is perfect. And as you mentioned, like money and sustainability, they are hand in hand. And soon we're gonna see if you're not work on a sustainable way, you will easily lose your business.
We can see now the fossil industry. It's for them. I think they are sitting and being a bit nervous right now.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine that. So it's really great to hear that. And you mentioned a bit what we're gonna see in next summer, 2022. So I know many things can happen, many things can change, but me and many of the listeners will visit Helsingborg. What will we see on the field in Helsingborg, in the two arenas? You mentioned, will we see people living there or just models of the houses?
Oh, no. You will see, and that is one of the right now the challenges. In a little bit more than 1 year, you will see made by BoKlok completed projects up in Drottninghög. There will be some quite many apartments, people living in them, but there will be showroom apartments where we decorate and where we will stand and talk with people, learn what people are sort of giving us, the kind of feedback they're giving us. The same thing in Silviabo, the full project, fully finished, will stand there, and we will have in the bottom of that we will have 3 show apartments, and they will be a range of good for just elderly people, but also we will have specifically fitted apartments, homes for people, and that is a little bit different when enabling you to live home when you have developed dementia.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's not just models. It will be fully, completely.
Yeah.
And that's what I said before. We want to be tangible. We want to be concrete. Then we do understand that it's important that you also have a discussion, sort of a theoretical discussion. But I think that's more for the professionals. If we want to reach out to society, to everybody, we need to be very, very. You need to be able to go inside, feel, and look for yourself.
Yeah, like think from the visitor or customer point of view. I want to touch it, to be there, to experience it.
Yeah, and talking about that, just to be, as a sort of talking a little about history. Back in H99, when we had these BoKlok apartments down in Oceanhamnen, we had 3 apartments, fully fitted, decorated by IKEA. Every day we also had fresh baked cinnamon buns for people to eat. And that was because we wanted to give to people to feel a smell of home when they enter into the homes.
Wow.
So it's about playing with all senses. What we're going to do next summer, I don't know yet, but just to try to give you a sort of a picture that we believe we need to do the real thing.
I love it. So I will prepare my stomach to get some food and be home and BoKlok.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So what are the challenges that you're gonna face, or you think you're gonna face in these years until the expo?
It's quite obvious. Right now, nothing is built yet, and it's only a little bit more than 1 year to sort of the inauguration of the Helsingborg EXPO 2022. So our challenge is actually to get building permits in place together with Helsingborg, get the construction done, even though we are faster than most others, but it is a short time period until 2020, until the summer and the Expo 2022.
Yeah.
So that's the practical challenge we have.
Yes. You think you're able to pass this challenge?
Oh yes.
I love it. So talking about history, present, let's go to the future. Take us to the future. What will happen after the Expo? I know Expo is a moment in this journey, but what is next?
Well, for us, if I'm sort of looking inside for us in BoKlok, of course, from the expo and from other activities during the expo and also before, we hope to get a lot of interesting feedback from visitors and from others, so to help us continue to develop. And then, of course, we hope that H22 also helps us connect with a lot of relevant partners, so we can together speed up our mutual development. So we see H22 as a big arena for sort of hooking up with interesting and attractive sort of companies, individuals, so we can continue and even speed up everything even more.
Yeah. So it's also like a message for all the listeners that will visit Helsingborg. So all in with the feedback. Experience it, experience house it, and tell whatever you think and feel and believe about it.
Absolutely. And also the stuff, and of course also the stuff you don't like, because you need to learn from failures.
Yeah, exactly. And also for the business partners, it's a good arena to meet, to talk, to discuss. So I think it's gonna. I'm looking really forward that summer, and hopefully we'll see you there. And Jonas, in Urbanistica podcast, I discussed what is a smart city together with my guest. And now you're making history by what you do in the BoKlok project. I would like to ask you, from your opinion, how do you define a smart city? How do you imagine this city?
Well, of course, it can be so many things. I think just the word smart can sort of trap people to think about technology. For me, it's not about that. For me, it's smart cities. They are actually that's sustainable cities, where we have managed to develop the city into something where everybody can live a safe, healthy, sustainable social life in communities that supports all that. And support all that by being developed and redeveloped and continue to be developed in a very, very clever way. So for me, the word smart, we need to redefine that. It's all about sort of really having, when you enter into community, living there or visiting there, this nice feeling of this is a place I want to stay. And then, of course, the sustainability aspect about that's a lot about climate neutral, because we need to develop smart cities that are resilient. So we're not doing something that will last a decade, and then it's just a threat to everything. So it's a difficult, but for me it's this resilient, sustainable thing that's and likable.
Yeah. Can we say BoKlok houses are smart houses?
Well, this is, of course, from our perspective on this topic or this question. We consider ourselves as sort of just as such as a social sustainable thing, because with the approach we have, those we are targeting, those we are serving, those we are trying to help. We are not trying to help the most affluent people. We're trying those with maybe less affluence, who have it more difficult actually to get into a place where they can contribute living in a smart city. So by that we believe that we play a role. We can play a role in that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's very eye-opening now when I am talking to you. Very, very interesting thoughts and leadership, and also ideas of cities. So I'm really happy that you're doing it, and I wish you all the good luck by putting it on the site and showing it to people. So all good luck to you.
Thank you.
And if I take you now with a time machine and we go back in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're able to change one thing related to urban planning, city development, housing. What will you change? Feel free.
Well, I will. It's actually quite easy. I would start in our BoKlok climate journey so much earlier. We have been extremely focused on standardization, costs, and stuff like that. We should have done that even earlier, also with sort of the climate glasses on. And that is, of course, that's an easy answer and it's obvious answer, but still, when you put that question, I can't really, because I truly believe we are doing so much things quite okay, not great, but quite okay. We are reasonably successful. We believe that we have sort of a right to exist, but we should have been even more aggressive when it comes to. But I also think that this is also sort of an exponential development in this question, and we are resisting a while, and now it's becoming more evident that we need to do something together, but we should have started earlier.
Yeah.
So that the burning platform is now starting to be visible, but I wish we had been able to see that burning platform earlier.
Yeah, I understand. And may I ask you why you didn't start it before? I guess now we know it's good, so when we go back in time, we say, okay, we're supposed to start. But
as a reminder, I know IKEA, one of our owners, inside their development, they are doing a huge transformation, and they are talking a lot, and they believe a lot in exponential development. So they are trying to learn how to see the signs early and be able to sort of jump on that journey early. Normally we see everything linear, but the world does not develop linear. So it's about finding ways of being on the right things earlier, not waiting too long. And that could be climate, it could be other things, of course. So I think sort of finding ways of learning to sort of grab the right opportunities early enough, and opportunity needs, it could be sort of it's not only opportunities, of course, but sort of how do we, as early as possible, secure that we find ways of staying relevant in the long run.
Yeah. And I think you're part of this mindset. It's what you're doing in Helsingborg, the collaboration as well.
Yeah.
Well, great. Again, Jonas, thank you so much for giving your valuable time. I'm very happy to hear this story, and soon in the future, hopefully we'll be part of it. So now I would love that we finish this great episode. I would love to ask you one thing. You're running a great project and business and so on. So do you have time for hobbies?
Oh, yeah.
What do you do?
Maybe it's not of sort of public interest, but one thing I can mention, and that is I have in my older days become a quite obsessed cyclist, and I do quite many miles or kilometers on the roads every year. And actually, there is almost not one single BoKlok project throughout the southern part of Sweden which I haven't passed by on my bike. And I said before, one thing I'm passionate about my sort of the longer bike rides during weekends. So yeah, and I think it's all more about, it's a mindset. We all have exactly the same amount of time. This is extremely what's the word in English? When we have exactly as many minutes, every one of us. It's more about how do you prioritize to use them. And to get energy, mental energy, physical energy, I like the hobby of being out on my bike every now and then. And
that's amazing, because the purpose of me asking this question is actually because many people think, okay, we should spend 100% on working and to make something happen. But at the same time, I want to show examples that you can have time to do other things that gives you energy and continue build up your project.
I can now when you're sort of putting that on the table, I can sort of give you my view on life. As I said it before when I introduced myself, I find it hard to differ work life from rest of life because they fit together. As I see it, I'm not saying I'm right, but that's my view on life. People, maybe I spend quite many hours on sort of doing my sort of work-related stuff, and people ask me that sometimes. Don't you work too many hours? Yeah, maybe. I don't count, because I enjoy my work. I'm one of the lucky ones who really enjoy. And connected to your question about hobby, if you have a hobby you like, you want to do it a lot. And if you can have a mental picture that your work is also something similar to a hobby, then it's not a burden to do it quite a lot. But for me, if something is boring, 5 minutes is too much.
5 years.
Yeah, that's I think it's so damn important that we have fun in your work life, in your private life, in your life. So that's why I don't really, I don't find it hard to find time to do my hobby. Right now, after this discussion you and me have now, I will go out for a couple of hours a ride, and then tonight I will continue to do some work stuff. And of course I know I'm privileged being able to do it like that. All are not privileged like me, and that is, of course, I'm thankful for that. But it's also a way of me sort of fueling myself with energy, being able to really focus even more and hopefully contribute a little bit for the continued success of BoKlok.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jonas, for sharing this part. I think this is very interesting for us to hear this kind of mindset. We not only talk project, but we also need to talk about other things that give us energy to make great projects. So thank you so much for sharing. And we're almost in this interesting question. Can you give us 3 takeaway messages to all the listeners?
One, and this is a personal one. Make up your mind on what drives you personally, and then go for it. Make up your mind. Then I have one message to the organizers of H22. Please bear with us. Bear with us, so-called commercial partners. We truly try to do our best. Might we have a different view on some things, but we still want to contribute to the best of Helsingborg. And thirdly, please come visit us next summer. We will show you some great ideas.
Awesome, thank you so much. And do you have a question for us to reflect about? I ask you so many questions now. Now it's your turn to ask.
But you gave me a hint of asking that question before. So yeah, I have a question for the listeners, and this is also on the personal side, because my question is, how do you yourself contribute to the biggest challenge of them all, to become climate neutral or even climate positive as a planet? But what can you do? We can all do different things, but reflect. What can you do?
That's a very interesting question and important. Thank you, Jonas. And yeah, before we go, I would love to say thank you so much and hopefully see you in Helsingborg.
Thank you very much. And it was a real pleasure to be interviewed by you.
Well, thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica podcast. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. You learned something new and also got inspired by the guest. Don't forget to share the episode on your social media and recommend it to people you think they are really interested in this topic. Thank you so much again for giving your valuable time to Urbanistica podcast. I am Mustafa Sharif. Keep up the good work. Keep loving cities.